Welcome to Sapphire Spider Oracle. If you're here watching this, this is my very first tarot reading live on YouTube video. Or rather, I should say not live, right? But live recording for me, doing a tarot reading for others. So just to kind of introduce myself, I'm just going to go by Mother Spider on this channel. I like to remain slightly anonymous at this time because of the fact that I do have other areas of my life that I wish not to have affected by this. Whatever your personal path is, whatever you follow, whatever you choose to be public or not, that is fine with me. That being said, it is the middle of quarantine and my nails are not so awesome. They usually look much better than this, and I'm desperately trying to cling on to whatever free edge I have until I can get to the nail salon. So, compassion, try not to judge the nails too much. We're going to do a reading today for the different signs. We're going to do air signs, water signs, fire signs, earth signs, and we are reading for Pluto Retrograde, which is going to last until October 4th. We just went into Pluto Retrograde. And if you do pay attention to astrology, then I'm sure you've heard that, Pluto Retrograde is really something that affects us as a generation. So even though I'm reading for different signs, we'll find out when we go through the readings, there might be a lot of similarities between readings because we are, as a large generational group, going through this cycle together. However, I do think, according to, whatever house Pluto is in for you or what sign it is, those kinds of things, I think it will be something to pay some mind to. So anyway, going forward, these are some kunzite crystals that I just got, and they are quite lovely. I think this one's my favorite because it's a little cube. And according to my book, my wonderful crystal guide, this is specifically tied to the planet Pluto. So, and again, Pluto is the god of the underworld. So we're definitely looking at transformation, quote unquote, death cycles, and things like that. So, P.S. I apologize if you can hear my whole family in the background of this video. It is, again, coronavirus quarantine. I have 5 animals. I have a husband and a child. And they like to talk to the TV and play video games a lot. So this first one is going to be for my earth signs. I am an earth sign. I'm a triple earth sign. Sun, Virgo, Moon, Taurus, Rising, Virgo. I have several planets in earth signs as well, Capricorn and Virgo. I am earthy to the core, born under 3 earth trines. It's crazy how earthy I am. So we're going to start with the element that we know, and that is earth. So I am shuffling off camera for you guys just because I don't have a lot of space where I'm filming at this moment. So give me just a moment and I'll get you guys set up. The deck I'm using today is the Wildwood Tarot from Ryan Matthews. All right. We cut our deck. This little tablecloth is not sitting still. All right. We're going to do our overall Pluto retrograde. What is the area of your life that this is most going to affect? This could be reflecting someone personally, you personally, a family member, or an actual, area of your life, career, love, finances, things like that. Next, we're going to ask what the block is that you're going to have to transform through. We're going to ask for advice on how to move through that process. And then we're going to take a look at the outcome. Okay. So earth signs coming in overall, Pluto retrograde. Ooh. The Woodward. In this tarot deck, that's really about strength. So this is traditionally the strength card. In this particular deck, it's very much about this inner strength, just like a traditional strength card. It does feature a little bit more of that masculine energy. So what I'm sensing is that the divine masculine energy within you, whether you are actually a male or a female watching this, the divine masculine energy within you is going through the transformation. And more specifically, this warrior type transformation, right? And that being said, too, this man is standing at the top of a peak, the top of a mountain. He's looking out into the landscape. We can still see a mountain peak in the distance, too. So it's like the mountain he's already climbed and the mountain he just climbed now. Just like a traditional strength card, we do have this wildcat feature. It's usually a lion, so we kind of have this lynx here, and the lynx is reposed and calm and seated, just like almost like a dog, right? So that's a very domesticated wildcat. That's how much power that he's got. And not only look at that, but he's got like the threat of his past conquests that he's wearing too. So this cat knows what's up. This is very much about standing in your power, but having this very calm control, being steadfast. And I love the definition for this card too in the book that basically talks about this point inside of yourself where you go within, and that's your stronghold. You don't back down from that point, but you always feel safe to move forward from that point. He's also very keen in the fact that he's got the bird flying overhead to cut through doubt, see ahead, see the bigger picture. So that's the thing. He has paused. He has climbed his mountain. He has exerted his strength. He has conquered. He is tamed. He is looking out. And then this is his spear, which still features just a little bit of blood. So he's pretty fresh from the fight here. So this is the area where you're going to see a lot of transformation. So inner strength. That being said, I did come across a message recently, especially for my women or those who might identify specifically as a more divine feminine energy. There was something that I was reading about how it was like, teach your daughters that strength is not how much pain they can endure, right? And I think that's an important message too. It's not about how much pain you can endure. So please don't think that that is strength. If you go through a painful cycle here in, this Pluto retrograde phase, don't assume that it's something that you need to hurt through, that you must feel all these things. Feeling's important. Take everything with a grain of salt. If it resonates, it resonates. But I'm just saying, it's not about how much pain you can endure. It's about that inner strength, very stoic masculine energy in the sense of controlling those emotions, controlling that response, controlling that reaction, and having the strength to push forward. So what's the particular block that we're dealing with here? Look at that. This is the Great Bear in reverse. The Judgment card, essentially. Very beautiful. Really nice. And what this says for us is essentially, you're not answering your higher calling. You're not answering your higher calling. You've been called to something. And traditionally, I'm going to flip this over just for now so that y'all can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. You have been called for something, a higher purpose. And I think that if you're like me, you probably know exactly what you're feeling, at least what this is, right? So that being said, this doorway is the door, the big scary door that you're not walking through. And it's big and scary because there's a big formidable foe or fear sitting on top of it, right? This card is really beautiful too. We have the Big Dipper here in the sky to lead the way. These are the northern lights in the background to show you that once you go through this door, there's beauty and magic and wonder and your higher calling. Everything you've ever wanted to really pursue is on the other side of this doorway. But this is very much like a tomb. This very much represents death. And remember that death is literally the word for transformation very often when we're going through spirituality. So it's not necessarily a physical death, right? It's the cycle of death. And if you look at the stones here too, we have this threshold. That's the threshold you're not crossing. That's the door you're not going into. If you don't know what this higher calling is at this time, it's okay. I'm sure it will reveal itself. But if you already know kind of maybe what you're feeling, where you're feeling pulled to, but you just know you haven't quite crossed that threshold yet or gone through that door yet, it's no time to run away anymore. Like Pluto is going to bring you back to this. So seeing this, earth signs, what do we do to get through this block? Of course, my dog is barking in the background. Beautiful. Look at that. Ace of Bows. Spark of Life. Let me bring this one up for you guys. New beginnings. New beginnings. We're talking about bows, which is wands in traditional tarot. So we're talking about fire energy, passion, will, drive, creation, sexual energy, passion, could even be career, enterprise, things like that. So something that you're passionate about, something that spark that you feel that's calling you through here, you got to follow that spark. That's what's got to lead you through the door. You want that new beginning. You're not following that spark. You've got to come through this door to get this started, right? It's just like with the drill bow. This is one of those fire things where you got to put the stick in. And that's similar to what it represents here. It's a drill bow, so you got to start the fire. You got to put work in. You got to go through the door. You got to add some friction. You got to know that the spark is there waiting on the other side. Ooh, I really like this reading, y'all. And so that's the thing, is like, hold on to that spark. I think that's the other message in it too. Hold on to the spark. You feel this. You feel this. Hold on to the spark. Follow it. Last but not least, what is, I don't necessarily like to say the final outcome, but I like to get kind of like a hint, right? So kind of final outcome of where we're going. Five of Stones. Endurance. I like the story that goes with this card too. It's very much about, and I'm not going to look at the book right this second, but this man, it's a war story, and he ends up in a cave after being run out through battle. And it's a story about how there was a storm that lasted for many days, and so he got stuck in this cave. And the only thing there with him was the spider. And the spider, he watched the spider for several days, and it tried very hard to build a web over the door of the cave. And then the wind of the storm kept knocking it down. And finally, the spider kept building the web, and finally one day it took, right? And it stayed the whole time. Very much about camping out through the storm. Look at us all in quarantine, right? We're already here. This is about weathering the storm. And I think this is very much, if you kind of cycle back around to the Strength card again, the Woodward, this endurance is just another reminder that, like, number one, the journey never ends. You're going to always have ups and downs, mountains to climb, caves to hide in, storms to go through, scary doors to walk through, all of these things. When you come out the other side of this, you might not feel like you are totally where you thought you'd be. I think that's a good way to put this, what I'm feeling from this card. You might not be totally where you thought you would be, but you have endured. And remember, it's not about the pain you endured. It's about the lessons. It's about the journey. And I also like this card too. It's very much about a child. And that's your inner child kind of hanging out inside of you that's like trying to weather the storm with you and everything. And we've got some illumination. This lightning always kind of reminds me of the tower too. So it's like there might be some stuff going on in Pluto retrograde that really challenges you, but I think it's definitely leading you somewhere. Might not be leading to a completion quite yet, but it's at least in the halfway steps, right? Five of Stones. This is earth energy. This is concrete. So we do have something coming from just a spark to something concrete. And if we look at that spark. Now we've got a whole fire. This is progress. You're going to see progress go through Pluto retrograde. This is a journey that is taking you somewhere. And Spirit is telling you right now that it's all about your inner strength. It's all about your real endurance, not your endurance to put up with BS, your endurance overall. It's about following that spark. It's about hitting that higher calling. Let's see what we got under the deck. Sorry. Eight of Arrows. Struggle. This is about being stuck in a mental prison. So this was hiding under the deck. So this is like your secret wisdom card. That's what I always call it, the unseen wisdom card. This is very much like, okay, your mental prison, right? 8 of Swords, 8 of Arrows, mental prison. But in this card, it's not so much about that mental prison, right? We're not in a prison. We're just in an extremely wintry, snowy landscape. And it's totally dull, blustery, frigid cold. And there's really not much hope looking like in the scenery, right? So the thing is, the only light of hope we have in this scene is, of course, the lantern. And in the description of this card, too, it talks about how you really have to have the courage to follow your light through your path when it gets darkest, when it gets hardest, when you're struggling the most. So, that being said, you have to have courage to follow your path through the dark, through the hard parts, through the cold, through the storm, over the mountain. When I see this card, as much as it kind of makes me go, ooh, it's called struggle, but I really like to turn this in my mind into the courage card. And that's how I usually, number one, I don't think you always have to take everything in reverse. And I don't think that you should always put yourself into these immediate, like, oh, when your tarot cards don't come out the way you want them to, right? There are silver linings to every single card, just as there are black linings to every single card. My silver lining for this card is it's always my message of courage. Have courage to go forward and do this hard path that you're being called to do. All right. That's my reading for earth signs. Next up, we're going to do water signs. So water signs, come back next. Thank you, earth signs. I'll see y'all later. Hello, water signs. So I have reshuffled. I re-put the crystals on your deck for you. So we're just going to move these over here. My earth sign reading, I kind of shuffle off camera at the moment just because I don't have a lot of space. And this tablecloth keeps moving. So I got so many crystals over here just to kind of hold it down. Just trying to bring some shuffling action over here for you. So we're going to do the same spread I did for my earth signs. Spirit said that one. I don't know why. So, okay. So for our first card, we're going to do what the overall area of Pluto retrograde is going to be working on for you water signs. This could be as far as a person. This could be a certain aspect, finances, career, love, whatever. So what's the overall place where Pluto retrograde is going to be affecting you? From there, we're going to look at what the specific block is. What is the block that's going to really be the trigger point through this whole transformation cycle? Very interesting that I just said trigger point. That already kind of tells me something. I've been saying that word a lot lately, so I feel like a lot of people, I mean, look at the world right now. We're going through a lot, so there's a lot of triggers. This one, we are going to look at what is going to help you get through this block. Like, what's the tool? What's the key to help carry you through this block? And then not necessarily like a total final outcome, but, you know, a nice hint, a nice peek at where we're going to end up at over here. So that being said, let's get started with your reading. Air signs, not air signs, water signs. Okay, water signs, overall place where Pluto retrograde is going to be affecting you. Now that's really interesting. If you just happen to watch my earth reading, this came out right here too. However, it was right side up. You know what that tells me? Some of y'all earth and water signs are connecting, and I'm going to confirm that because I know I've got water people up in my world that I'm kind of working with. So this is interesting. So now this was upright in the earth signs. This is in the water signs, and it's in reverse. This is usually the strength card. Woodward, you get it in the light there. So very much what I was saying to the earth signs This is all about that inner strength, climbing the mountain, getting to the top, being successful in conquest, getting the spoils of your victory sometimes, sometimes having to do the hard fight and do the hard thing. But then you've also got this ability to tame the wild animal. You've got the spirit guides watching out for you, looking over the distance, keeping an eye on things. This is about a stronghold within yourself that you can always come back to, that you never have to back down from, and that you can always push forward from. So that being said, to see this in reverse tells me what I keep hearing in my head is weakness. And there's a strength in weakness. And I think that I think this is interesting again for water signs too. Water signs, usually people think they're so intuitive and spiritual and emotional. And there's a lot of water signs that I meet and they are that way, but then they bottle it up because they've been told so much that they're emotional or too, intuitive or just kind of out there. This is about safety in your weakness. This is about strength and weakness. And that's very important. Strength and weakness. There's a lot of, especially in, this is masculine. There could be a lot of masculines struggling with specifically their emotional weaknesses, showing emotional weakness, showing emotions at all. They're so busy wrapped up being super masculine, super stoic, super warrior-like, that they're not allowing any of this feminine energy to flow. They're not allowing the emotions to be expressed. They're not saying anything. They're not connecting with the divine. They're just seated in this stubbornness. That's not strength. Stoicism, quiet, being still, that's not strength. That is like not necessarily toxic masculinity, but definitely getting into, I don't like to call everything toxic. I just like to say that's just, distorted is a good word. Not the most divine masculine energy. So what's the block here, right? What's the block? Why is this all about strength and weakness? Y'all heard me shuffle these cards, didn't you? You heard me shuffle these cards. I tried to shuffle in front of the camera. I'm going to have to look back at this video and even see if I shuffled in front of you guys. I swear to y'all, I shuffled these cards. This is crazy. This is my first reading live on a camera for YouTube. Oh my God. Earth signs and water signs, y'all connected. Y'all are connected. I can already tell. What's the block for you guys, water signs? You feel like there isn't a spark, or you keep trying to build the spark and you can't get it to go anywhere. This is upside down. Not enough friction, not enough passion, not enough drive, not enough oomph behind this. Or this could also be a fear that you've lost a spark, that you've lost something, that you don't get this new beginning that you thought you were going to get. Because an ace is always a new beginning. So this is like being blocked. You don't get your new beginning. Or there's just not enough fuel behind this fire. This came out for the earth signs in what was going to help them through the block. And I think that's what's so funny for you water signs is that this is the block. So for earth signs, it's like, hold on to this. There is a spark. And it looks like for water signs, they're scared the spark went away. I feel like this is starting to look like a relationship reading. I wasn't trying to go that way, but at least between my water and my earth signs, this is feeling like a little bit more like a relationship reading. Inner strength, dealing with people, strength and weakness, dealing with people, right? Okay, so then what's going to help the water signs through this block? Y'all, I can't do this anymore. This is crazy. This is totally crazy. This came out from my earth signs, but what's interesting is this one was reversed for the earth signs. So what's going to get the water signs through this block? Their higher calling, judgment. The higher calling is going to come through and it's going to lead them. So earth signs, you ignoring this calling. Water signs are going to hear it, and that's what's going to get them through this block. So I suggest my earth signs get on it, but water signs, something's going to come through for you. This is your higher calling. this is, I mean, and it is judgment too. A lot of things have to be balanced. You got to go through the door, but you got to be listening for these things too. It's that enunciation, that death, that transformation. Move through the door, go to the higher calling. So when you hear the higher calling, that's what's going to get you through this. What's the final outcome for you guys? And y'all, for real, I think this is the same card. And the only reason why I say that, I'm predicting it because the patterns on the back may or may not be the same. I've had this deck for a while. I'm kind of blocking y'all's light too. What's a hint at the final outcome for us? No. Okay. Page of Bows in reverse. So this is essentially a Page of Wands. This is a Stoat. This card's interesting to me because this card usually comes out when I ask, there's a lot of animal characters in this deck, and I'll ask who my true self is. This card has to do with dreams. It has to do with secrets. It has to do with the appearance of strangers, mysterious news. It's a page, so it's announcing, it's the messenger, it's things coming in, childlike energy. It's usually very much, usually a feminine energy, usually a childlike energy. This to me says at the end that water signs are going to put an end to some childish things. I think this is more about reflecting in the water, reflecting back on themselves and seeing this childishness, maybe seeing somebody who keeps secrets, maybe somebody who a deliverer of bad news, but maybe they don't want to be. I don't know why that just came to me. That kind of stuff. This is someone who's acting immature, knows they're acting immature. It's a fire sign. I know this card looks very green, but of course the Stoat itself is very red. And so that's the thing, it's about fire sign. This person, I feel like it's like they're going to stop and look at themselves and just realize that. Can you imagine a fire sign being a kid and like throwing a type of, not like a tantrum. It doesn't feel like a tantrum, just, and it's not about not following your passions either. Hang on, I'm getting. It's like wasting your energy and your God-given resources. It's like being a fiery person and knowing you're a fiery person and having secrets, having dreams, having passion, having a spark, having all of this stuff, but wasting it, not using it irresponsibly, hurting people with it, right? Misinformation, secrets, disguise. Stoats are kind of like weasels, so there's kind of that in there. So this to me looks like water signs. There's a huge relationship cycle going through something with earth signs. I feel like, honestly, you're afraid the spark is gone. What's going to get you through is that higher calling. Honestly, this feels like a spiritual awakening now that I see it. And that spiritual awakening is going to be the end of these fiery, childish feelings and emotions, which comes back to this strength and weakness. You're fighting so hard to be like a strong man. And even if you're a woman dealing with this, like this thing, you're like fighting so hard to be strong. And it really just wants you to open up and listen and follow that calling and stop being so stubborn and fiery and or slippery and secretive. Like, let your emotions out. Talk to people. Be weak. There's strength and weakness. Tell people you need help. Hold on to the spark. Don't let things go. Listen to the calling. Listen to your higher spirits. Let the childish stuff go. Whew. Water signs, man. I love water signs. I really do, y'all. Okay, so then what is hiding under the deck for us? Phew. Got this one in the earth signs too. This is the Five of Stones in reverse. And that's what I mean. There's something here about a relationship. Half of these cards have come. Okay. This card, this card, this card, and this card were all in the earth readings. But you know what they were? They were flipped in their other directions. So this one was upside down. These were right side up. That was right side up. Look at this water sign reading. How do I put this? If Earth is standing right here and there's a mirror in between, the water sign is here. That's the tarot readings. Earth signs mirroring water signs. There's only one difference here in what these people are recognizing and seeing differently. We had strength. We had the Great Bear. We had the bow. I'll have to go back and review my Earth video again. I can't remember what the other card was. Oh, yeah, it was this one. I can't remember what some of the other cards were, but these 4 came out, and now they're mirror flipped for water signs, and they were the other way for Earth signs, and that's crazy to me. Earth signs and water signs are mirroring each other. Okay. So that being said, coming back to this card real quick, this is the overall energy. So this is about you not having to endure anymore. This is like you closing out a cycle of enduring something. You've been through a storm. You've been hanging out in the cave. This is being on the opposite side of that mirror. So to me, too, it's like earth and water. Y'all are flip-flopping each other, mirroring each other. And we've got to... Mirroring is beautiful because that's what helps us heal and see each other. But we got to kind of like realize that we are the mirror and stop just reflecting each other, right? Like heal some stuff. Okay. Whew. Waters, that was wonderful. Anyway, I'm going to move on to my fire signs next, and I'll see y'all in just a moment. Hello, fire signs. Welcome to your reading. All right, so I don't know if you just watched the last 2 earth and water readings, but like 80% of their cards came out the exact same. 4 out of 5 cards came out the exact same. I'm interested to see how y'all's reading's gonna go. So just for the record, I did just shuffle these, but I'm gonna shuffle yours in front of the camera. I'm gonna do my best because I may or may not have made it into the frame for the water. And then after getting so many cards that were repeats, I was like, that's not cool. Everybody's got to know I'm shuffling, right? So let spirit do its thing. So I'm going to put my little kunzite crystals over here. So I have already shuffled this since the water reading, but I'm going to shuffle it one more time in front of you guys. And I'm going to turn the deck away from you, though, so you can't see what's on the bottom of the deck. Look at that one. That one wanted to fly out there. So I tell you what, fire signs, we're going to take that because my first card that I was going to say was, what area are you going to be most affected by in Pluto Retrograde? This card wanted to fly out at me. So this tells me divine feminines. Divine feminines. Or those who identify with divine feminine energy, your intuition, your high priestess, your seer. This is about to come out. Not just the divine feminine aspects either. This is very much about developing the psychic gifts, reading, seership, mysticism. You're really going to embrace these feminine secrets and healing gifts. And I think you're going to go through a lot of stuff right now. Ooh, and just as I said that, I got very lightheaded. I did. That just, I'm telling you, this is what I just did this face. Like I felt like this lightheaded, like kind of wave for a second. So yeah, I'm feeling psychic gifts opening up for you. Definitely those inner gifts, divine feminine energy. Apparently Spirit just said I was going to shuffle these again for you. So during Pluto retrograde, so this is the main area that's going to be affected by the transformation phase you're going through. What is the block? What is a block that you will have to work through to get here? Gossip. Talking. Fear of people talking about you. Sitting on the fence. You gossiping or people gossiping about you. You know when we say, a little bird told me? Usually we say that in a positive way. But if that little bird's a spy or a gossiper or someone who likes to speak in that way, that's spreading a lot of negative energy. That's spreading a lot of negativity. And especially if you are somebody who is actually awakening to your gifts, as somebody who's now been through this for, I've definitely been waking up for at least 4 years. I feel like I've always had connections, but it's like when I can say that I definitely started like taking off was for sure 4 years ago. I have had phases in my life where I feel like obviously I picked up things and built up. But when I say my awakening, I would say I was building up to it in 2016. Started in 2018 when I was 28 and got to my return of Saturn. If you don't know about a return of Saturn, maybe I'll make another video for that one day. And then so for the past 2 years, I'm 29, almost going to be 30 here soon. It has been a roller coaster, and that the lightheadedness I got when this card came out, I'm telling y'all, I've already been through this. I can feel this so much. You're going to go through some psychic gifts. I'm getting like, do y'all hear me talking? Like, I'm like almost trembling a little in my voice. And that's what I mean. It's like, there's fire signs. Y'all got some major stuff coming in. Y'all are going to open up, and this is going to worry you very much, because you're not going to understand fully what's going on. There's going to be times where you're worried about, am I crazy? Am I seeing things? You aren't going to want to talk to people because you're afraid they're going to think you're crazy and gossip and stuff. And you're going to sit on the fence about, well, am I really this? Am I really this spirit being? Am I really this magical? Am I really this? I wish I could give y'all a whole download right now. Like, don't go there. This arrows, that's your mentality. That's all up in your head. Don't go to that space. This card's telling you right here, right now, if you start experiencing this stuff, this is telling you this is where it was coming from. Put the mind games to rest. Stop doubting yourself right now. If you don't feel comfortable talking about these things with people, don't. But find a safe space if that's what you need. Don't fear it, though. Don't fear these people and this gossiping and this, negativity. You are divine feminine. You are waking up. You have gifts that are being received to you, and they want you to close your eyes, be still, and listen, and trust yourself. So what's going to help you through this block? Tradition. 9 of Stones, tradition. So 9 of Stones, in a traditional tarot deck, this is usually the really nice single lady with like Virgo energy. It's very different in this Wildwood deck. This is a shaman, and he's got the symbols of protection, and he's got that Kundalini divine snake energy, right? He's got the antlers, the horned god, and then very much like a Stonehenge type thing, right? He's meditating. Tradition. What this tells me, and seeing it upright right here, look, these are both very focused. This is about you waking up, facing your fears of being talked about, being crazy, quote unquote crazy, and rediscovering your cultural traditions in your genetic bloodlines, ancestral memory, maybe you've already touched into your feminine too. And so then maybe your masculine's starting to kind of wake up too. There's both of these figures here. So I feel like you're actually going to be pretty balanced, but it's like, it's not quite so much in the masculine, right? Definitely more of the feminine, but there's that mental fear about like being talked about or having people spy on you or not agree with you, and communications going wrong and things. This is telling you to meditate, go within, go back to your ancestors, look at your bloodlines. For instance, my history, very, very, very much Norse, German. That's why I have this Wildwood tarot deck. You can tell by the artwork on it. My grandmother was German. My mother was born in Germany before she moved over here at the age of 2. It's just, and then oftentimes, and then I've grown up in Georgia. The rest of my family comes out of like Virginia in the mountains. So very much like hoodoo folk magic, Appalachian folk magic, whatever you want to call it. There's some things in there. And so that being said, it took me a while to discover all of that, right? Like, I definitely didn't just know all of this. I had to dig into it. So this feels so much about like digging into yourself, finding those old traditions buried in your bloodlines, discovering your magic. Then moving forward, what's I say the outcome, but not, I don't ever believe in like final outcomes. So like, what's a hint at what's the end, right? Ooh, the sun in reverse. Sun in reverse. Well, usually when we see this in reverse, it's a little more complicated than the positive message. Something's telling me, though, not to read this one in a negative way. I think you will go through times where you feel like you're in the dark. You see how this moon is up and the sun is down. Remember, again, feminine energy is related to a moon, masculine is related to a sun. So I really do feel like this is like a rise of that feminine energy. Maybe it's a downplay of that masculine energy. At the same time, even though this card is in reverse, what I really feel from this card is discovering that inner light, right? It's like through the darkness, you discover the inner light. And sometimes I read reverse cards like that. For me, they don't always feel like negatives or opposites. They feel like they are energy coming into me, coming at me, or energy that exists within. Whereas this is more like energy that I usually see is going out. But in this particular instance, I had so much feeling over here. This doesn't feel heavy at all. This feels more like I was just saying, like, as you go through this journey, as you wake up, as you deal through this fear, as you discover your bloodline traditions, you will discover that inner light. And that's beautiful. So then looking at this, they also just said maybe like getting rid of distorted masculine energies. Getting rid of the wrong masculine energy, right? Under the deck, let's see what we got. Yes, look at that. That just reconfirmed my sun card for me. Four of Bows celebration coming into union. Union energy. If you're on a twin flame journey, you know what I'm talking about. But not even that. Just we always talk about inner union. The union between divine feminine and divine masculine energies. This is about that union energy. So again, sorry. Four of Bows celebration. Look at all those feminines celebrating, right? Your divine feminine is going to celebrate this whole entire journey. Your inner feminine is just going to be so excited at the end. This is about coming into union with yourself, discovering yourself, and waking up. I'm telling you, fire signs. Look at all that fire in there too, all that orange and yellow. This is y'all waking up to that power, getting out of the snow and the darkness and coming into that light and that warmth, right? I hope you really enjoy that reading. Looks good to me. So then I'm going to jump over to my air signs next. Hello, air signs. Last but not least, my sun is an air sign. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. So I have reshuffled since my last reading for the fire signs, but we're going to shuffle for you here on camera because if you watch my earth and my water video, then you would see that a lot of their cards came out the same. And I swear to you guys, I shuffled so many times. So it was interesting. So let's see how yours comes out. Fire had a card just kind of jump out. Not feeling that one for you guys. So we do the same reading we did for everybody else. So what is the main area of your life that's going to be affected by this Pluto retrograde? What's that transformation coming in through? Air signs. Six of Cups in reverse. Reunion in reverse. I feel the need to go ahead and lay all your cards out. What is the block going to be for this Pluto retrograde cycle that deals with this? What's the block? Hooded Man in reverse. So the Hermit. Hand was trembling a little bit there. What's the key that's going to get you through the block? What's the key that's going to help you through this transformation? Ten of Bows, responsibility. Got lots of responsibilities on your shoulders. Air signs. Last but not least, what is the, I don't really say like the final outcome. What's kind of like, a hint at the outcome, right? Eight of Bows in reverse. Hearthfire. All right, and what's hiding under the deck? This card has come up in 3 different readings now. And look, beneath that was the Queen of Stones upside down, and that's also a bear. I'm not going to really count this one, but I see that pattern. Ooh, this just told me to. So, air signs. This feels more like a goodbye. 6 of Vessels in some decks, people often read, this is like 6 of Cups, right? 6 of Cups in reverse. Soulmate energy, twin flame energy, reunion energy, very much being balanced, nostalgia, the past. That's what we see that here with reunion. So this is about something, air signs, that is like a goodbye. Phasing out of reunion. Maybe you've been in reunion with someone, but it's time to say goodbye. Maybe you've got to go somewhere. Maybe something didn't work out. This is a reunion that is not happening at this time. Like that I just said, at this time. That came out really quick. At this time. My pinky just hit that. Why? Because of your higher calling. That's why this isn't happening at this time. Because of your higher calling. The main block is you are isolated, buddy. Isolated. And for an air sign, that's not usually pretty cool. So this is the Hermit. Very much Led Zeppelin, So the little bird's talking to him. That's the only companionship he's got here in this scene. He has his own light. He's going to go hang out in the tree for winter and purposefully seclude himself to reflect, right? That's the Hermit. That's the hooded man. He chooses to go within and reflect. To have this upside down is like you are isolating yourself. You're cutting everybody off. You're just locked up in your own little world, and you're not flying. Air signs are mental and they need some freedom, right? Very spontaneous energy. You're not flying. You're not moving. You're isolated. You've locked yourself in. Maybe it's because of this that you locked yourself in, or maybe because this is the deal, you've locked yourself in. What's going to get you through this block, though, is the fact that you got a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. You are climbing up to the end of a cycle, and there's a lot of promise at the end of this cycle with the responsibility card. 10 of Bows, very much 10 of Wands, carrying that big load on your back. The promises, though, is that you've been given responsibilities because you've been trusted that you can handle them. And you're almost there. So it's like if you just finish climbing this mountain, you'll get to that reward, right? It's like the last push at the end of a workout. Like you got to make it up the mountain. And that's what's carrying you through this isolation this time. And I think it's important to note too that some of us will throw ourselves into our career to ignore things and get away from things, get away from painful emotional situations. You bury yourself in work, literally. That might be what you need at this time. That might not necessarily be awesome for you, though. So, take that with some balance and a grain of salt. Isolation can be good. Just not, I want to say distracting, but focusing on your responsibilities can be good to get you out of these more negative thought patterns here in these cards. However, as you see over here in the final outcome, this 8 of Bows in reverse is about hearth fire. It's very much about masculine brotherly fraternity energy, going through the struggle together, sharing the stories of the hard-fought battles and sharing the bounty later. Having this in reverse in this particular deck is like you've cut yourself off from all these people, from all this love, from all this warmth, from all this support, right? You isolated yourself because maybe you were hurt, or maybe something's not working out the way you want it to. Something's not coming together right now the way you want to, spiritually, emotionally, creatively. Feel more of the emotions here. And so you've isolated yourself, you're hurt, you're thinking, you're going over stuff. You, in the meantime, distracting yourself with a lot of responsibilities, things that are important for you to complete. This is a cycle that needs to complete. So it's not that you're doing things wrong, but just be aware you might be shutting yourself off. And that's what that says here. Don't shut yourself off. Keep your eyes open to these people around you that are here to support you and offer you the love you're looking for. And that's the whole thing. The reason why this stuff isn't happening out right now is this is the Judgment card in a traditional deck, the Great Bear. There's a path you have to go down. There's a higher calling here, and it's not the calling you thought it was, maybe. It's leading you down a different path, and you're kind of hesitating, cutting yourself off, finishing up a cycle. This is where you're heading. This is the underlying thing. And then seeing that Queen of Stones under here too as another bear, but in reverse. So Earth Queen, Earth energy, Pentacles, Stones. Not managing your resources wisely, not stocking your cave for winter, not being protective of your territory, that being a lazy bear, not a mama bear or a daddy bear managing the cave, right? This is very much about the physical world, not managing your finances, not managing your food, not managing your house, not managing your family. So yeah. Finish the cycles. Don't cut yourself off. Listen to your higher calling. Watch your resources. Watch your finances. Watch your real world materials. All right. Thank you very much for my air signs. Thank you to everyone if you went all the way through here. These were my first batch of videos for Sapphire Spider Oracle, so I'm going to get these edited up and put online. If this resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. You will be my first people on board, and I might even find something special to do for you guys, like a giveaway, free reading, or something like that. I am developing a website, and as soon as that stuff is ready, I will be letting you know. I will be booking services as soon as I have all of my ducks in a row and we're ready to go. Just want to make sure I can serve everybody to the best possible means. And last but not least, I am on Instagram as Sapphire Spider Oracle, and I'm also on Facebook as Sapphire Spider Oracle. So go ahead and hop to those. Give me a like, share, and subscribe if you can. Love a comment, love to say hey, let me know how this resonated with you, and I will see you guys later.